if you were to start today in 2025, how would you learn software engineering?
Anyone who is trying to get into tech, I would suggest to directly go hands-on.
Do you really need to learn coding in 2025?
People who actually don't know how to code, but they're able to build apps now with AI.
What do you think every developer should know DSA and lead code?
That you won't need it that much in your day-to-day work because you won't be using trees and graphs in your code. In most of the interviews, system design, low-level design, high-level design, and threading, these things remain still at the top. And maybe like if you keep on like going up the ladder, it's possible that the amount of code you write that goes on decreasing. So for anyone who is watching this, it's good to just focus on things you can work on, like keep improving with the skills and keep learning the new technologies. And one should only focus on the things they have in control.
Hi everyone, welcome to Bits, Bots and Bosses. I am your host Akshita Goyal, and today we have an amazing guest with us, Sukhad Anand, who is a software engineer at Google and also an amazing content creator, covers system design, AI, and I think cybersecurity is his favorite topic. But let's welcome Sukhad. Hey Sukhad, how are you?
Hey, hi Akshita, I'm good. Thanks for inviting me on this podcast. It's my pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So, Sukhad, would you like to introduce? I mean, a lot of people who follow tech content might already know you, but for those who wouldn't have, come across your content at this moment, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Sukhad. I'm working at Google. Before this, I used to work at Amazon. I've been in the tech industry for past 6 years now, and I mostly create content around, as Akshita discussed, system design, AI, and sometimes cybersecurity also. Yeah, because I think a lot of people want to know about hacking and stuff. Even I try to search that, so I generally try to create videos on that also.
It's not sometimes, it is a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, good. I would like to start with, if you were to start today in 2025, how would you learn software engineering? Would you take like traditional routes of going through CS degree, taking up some courses, or is there any quicker way to learn software engineering today?
Yeah, so from my experience, what I've learned is hands-on knowledge is always better than actually like going through courses or taking any classes and all. So anyone who is trying to get into tech, I would suggest to directly go hands-on. Right now in 2025, we have a lot of new technology with AI coming up. So we have AI agents being created, and a lot of code is open source. So you can start using LLMs to create your own AI agents. You can create your own MCP servers connecting different tools with Cursor. And with all these new technology, it is also kind of a bane. Like with the boon, it's a bane also because people don't get to know like how things work, and people are just vibe coding. But I would
Hmm.
say it's in these times, it's better to actually understand the concepts.
Hmm.
And like even if you're using some LLM tools to build any projects, it's better to actually understand what code they are writing.
Correct.
So a step-by-step approach would be just to pick a few projects.
Hmm.
What people do is just pick a MERN stack and start building things. That is also fine as a good start, but I would say to start with at least a strongly typed language, maybe like C++, so that you know some language concepts, you know, multi-threading and
Yeah.
all those things,
Hmm.
and then move on to web development, creating projects with these, and now you can create some AI related projects also.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be the better path.
Understood. But it like none of these is a good substitute to because I got some concerning DMs like where people have left their CS degrees. I don't know about the circumstances or reasons, and they have completely pivoted towards creating some cool projects, and then that would build their portfolio. But what is your opinion? The CS degree, and after that, you begin with all of these exercises.
Uh, I think, yeah, a CS degree helps you at least get recognized, get interviews, and I think the most important reason to get any CS degree is to build connections. So even if the technology is advancing, you can create your own projects, but
Hmm.
you should be able to build connections, which happens at colleges, at good
Hmm.
colleges. And if you can do that, then other route would be to actually share your progress on social media and connect to people on social media so that you're able
Got
to
it.
build the connections.
Absolutely. Okay, understood. I think one of the, because you mentioned that, a lot of these days people skip basics and then just go on to creating projects with the help of AI co-pilots or code companions. One of the questions, like, do you really need to learn coding in 2025? Like the syntax and the language basics, do you really need to get into those details?
Yeah, so I was reading a very interesting take on this on Twitter, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
like with a lot of these vibe coders coming up, people who actually don't know how to code, but they're able to build apps now with AI.
Hmm.
So what
Hmm.
happens is they build the apps, but there are some things which the AI can't solve. So they keep on asking
Right.
AI to please solve this, please fix this. So until you understand what's happening inside it, it won't be possible for you to do.
Hmm.
And this also raises a lot of security concerns. So for example, let's suppose there are thousands of apps which come up with these AI, and
Hmm.
if the AI is somehow introducing some kind of security threat, so there are security threats in all those apps.
Hmm.
So these kind of things are which you need to understand to be able to build good apps. And it's not just about web development. So what I've observed mostly, they are these current tools as of now, they're able to do code, but they're not able to actually design a scalable system, the kind of
Okay.
engineering you want if you're scaling to
Hmm.
billions of users. So for
Got it.
those purposes, at least you should be able to understand some system design concepts and
Hmm.
even coding concepts so that you're able to solve these errors.
Got it. Okay. But if someone is starting out there and like uh, earlier, what they would have done is like they'd go learn Python, Java, the basics of it. So do we really need to go that route, or some of it now can also be covered through, as you said, pipe coding and code companions?
Yeah, I think I think one language is I think required. One should learn
Okay.
so that you are
Fair.
able. If you know one language, you can translate that knowledge to other
Hmm.
languages also. Because like
Hmm.
I started with C++, and after that
Yeah.
I in Amazon I worked in Java, in
Hmm.
Google I have worked in Go, C++, TypeScript.
Okay.
I've done personal projects in JS. So
Hmm.
it is kind of transferable because if you know one
Yeah.
type of concepts, you're able to transfer that
Yeah.
and do
Yeah.
things. So at least one language you should know, the concepts you should know, and after
Okay.
that you can just use AI.
Got it. And I think we've mentioned it multiple times, vibe coding. Would you
Hmm.
like to share a bit about what are your thoughts about coding? What is vibe coding? I think we should start from there.
Okay, yeah. So for the people who don't know about vibe coding, it is kind of a term which has come up with AI. So what anyone now who even doesn't know how to code can use tools like Cursor or Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and write code and even create websites with it. Even there are now full-fledged AI agents like Replit AI agent is there with which one can create a basic website, connect it to database, and just like launch it.
Hmm.
So that's basically vibe coding is. It has given basically coding to in the hands of a lot of people who previously had to hire a lot of software developers to code even
Right,
basic
right,
websites.
right.
So that's good. But I think it has some downsides that because if developers use it, sometimes it's possible that they don't understand what is being written,
Hmm.
and if they get stuck, then also they need a software developer to fix it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where your skills really come handy. So I tell you, I mean, I'm a technical program manager at the moment, and I don't need to know the codings as a software coding skills as software engineer would be expected to know. But I think using so I've been playing around with Amazon Q a lot, and it has really helped me. So for the questions that I would have earlier gone to my software engineers for example, how many services are ingesting data from this service, or what is the auth mechanism you're using, I could really find it easily using Amazon Q. So I think those parts just take the redundant part of the software engineer's life job has been taken out because of all of these tools. And also I
Right.
think because of vibe coding, like the redundant, like writing the test cases and all of those things would be taken up. But still the core and the crux of engineering, as you said, like building scalable solutions, are the skills that would still be needed by and that's what I think would set you apart from the rest of the competition as well. That's what
Right.
how
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally
I
agree
think
with what you said. Yeah.
yeah, I think this really ties well with my next question. So, do you think there is a future wherein I can build a full, a full stack, a whole app just by knowing English? If I just know English, I can build my own app. Do you see a future
Yeah.
like that?
I think we can do it now also, like because a basic app one can easily build, like which doesn't require like a POC kind of thing, and
Hmm,
even the websites they look good, like they're not bad websites.
hmm,
What I have used the tools, they are really good at making UI.
hmm.
So the UI
For
of the
for
apps and the
example,
website.
can you name some tools?
Yeah, I used Cursor and Windsurf, and I used
Hmm,
it with Gemini 2.5 Pro, and I used it with Cloud 3.7 Sonnet. These
okay,
two models have been performing well for me, and they are able
got
to
it.
create quite beautiful UIs. You are able, if you can give them some even screenshots, they are able to build
Hmm.
that easily.
Oh, that's
So
great.
one who
Hmm,
doesn't know coding, they can
hmm,
easily build these UIs connected to
hmm,
Supabase. That is
hmm,
also open source, so it gives them a first start for the database. And
hmm.
if their app is actually solving some problem, and if they see some traffic, then they can think how to scale it. But definitely they can one can build at least a
Basic
functioning
apps.
app today. Yeah.
Okay. So I think one of the challenges that I run into, like how many tools do I continue investing on? Most of these come
Right.
with paid subscription, right? So
Yeah.
do you have like a thumb rule, like these are the tools that you can invest in? And it's almost very difficult to catch up with the models and the tools that come. Like every 2 months, our perspective of what AI can do change, right? And
Right.
we are like which one? Oh, I was using this subscription, but I should switch to this subscription. And what do we do about it?
Yeah, so for coding, what I have seen that you can use any one of Cursor or Windsurf because
Okay.
they give you access to almost all models which are existing out there, and you can
Hmm.
like build code and edit it in the editor itself. You
Got
don't
it.
have to go, and you can put images also, and you
Hmm.
can ask them to create the web pages which look similar to that. You can
Okay.
also connect it to various APIs. For example, if you want to connect to Firebase API, you want to connect to Supabase, you want to connect to any payment
Hmm.
gateway, for example, Razorpay. That
Hmm.
also these tools they have knowledge, or even if you
Hmm.
give them the documentation, they are able to read it through. So
Oh,
for
that's
coding, I
great.
think these two are enough for coding
Okay.
at least.
And if I may steal some of your content creation ideas, what do you use for content creation?
Yeah, so content creation is the place where I think these tools have not like they are good in image generation, video
Yeah.
generation is
Have you seen that
still
social media went wild with the Ghibli
Ghibli
Ghibli?
Studio. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, are
yes.
there any tools that you specifically use?
Yeah, with that, I am also struggling to find the best tools because there
Yeah.
are various different tools for like mid journeys, for image generation, then for video generation, there are so many models out there.
Yeah.
I've still not been able to use VO2 because it's not in India, available in
Hmm.
India as of now.
Which one?
So
VO2.
VO2 by Google.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, but I've used some Chinese tools like Minimax. That has
Yeah.
been fine. But the main issue with I find with them is sometimes either the video is not that realistic, or if it is
Hmm.
realistic, then it is not. There is no character consistency. So I'm still
Hmm.
trying to find a tool which can provide both for now. Another
Yeah.
thing which I find is that these cannot write. The AI cannot write today is scripts which are actually engaging. They are able to
Correct.
write scripts, but the
Hmm.
scripts are like I don't think they will work anywhere. They will
For
just be
me, I
yeah.
I mean I don't use a lot of these tools, but I use ChatGPT and DeepSeek. I think they have just one pattern of creating the
Right.
script, and it's very easy. Like for example, ever wondered XYZ, and that's very ChatGPT kind of script. So you can basically make out what script is written like through ChatGPT or DeepSeek or any of these models. But
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't tried creating a full video just using these Gen AI tools yet.
Hmm.
I was just hearing to one of these podcasts with that Tanmay Bhatt and Varun Maya does on overpowered AI, and I think Varun Maya is he
Yeah.
creates a lot of videos just using AI. So I was just
Right.
interested to know like how many content creators are using it.
Okay, so yeah, for that part, it's really good. So, for example, if I have to create my clone and
Hmm.
make it speak something,
Hmm.
that part is really great. Now, for that, I
Okay.
use Heijian. Heijian is a
Oh, you've
tool.
used it? Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, I've used it in
Hmm.
a lot of my videos. It works
Hmm.
great, and I think there are some other tools also.
All
uh,
right.
they still don't have not perfected the lip movement, and they
Hmm.
sometimes like don't work well. But what people do is that in those places where it doesn't work well, people add some other visuals, so that
Okay.
people don't get to know. So if you see Varun
Hmm.
Maya's videos,
Yeah.
the amount of time in a video in which his
Hmm.
face is actually visible and he's talking, that's very less. And
Yeah.
there are other visuals which are coming into picture.
I think those are the videos that work well also these days on Instagram because of very rapid frame movements. But
Yeah,
I think I should also try it. And sorry for
yeah.
the absolute deroute of the conversation. One last question I'm very tempted to ask. How much
Mhm.
budget do you decide for these AI tools on monthly or yearly basis? Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's what
insane.
actually I
It's
was
crazy.
thinking these days. Yeah, because I took two video generation tools. So I tried Luma
Hmm.
and there's Minimax. I
Hmm.
purchased them and I finished them in like 1 week. So the amount of
Hmm.
credits and
Hmm.
for the month basically. So for now, I've thought to you at least spend around 5K trying out
Yeah.
different
Hmm.
tools.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then see like where it goes
Yeah.
and find the best
Yeah.
version. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Uh, I think the next question we've already discussed. So I'm going to just pivot away from AI world a bit for time being. So there's been a lot of debate on internet about DSA and lead code. So I think I want to know what, from your perspective, what do you think every developer should know DSA and lead code at what level, or are there any specific roles or the requirements of the roles where you would need it? Or is it just like a lot of the content creators also talk about that you just need this skill to pass the interview, to go through the interview, and then you wouldn't need it ever in your roles? So what's
Mhm.
your perspective on that?
So, like I kind of agree that you won't need it that much in your day-to-day work because you won't be using trees and graphs in your code if you're not like starting out at a startup. Maybe there you might use it. Like there are some blogs written by Airbnb where they use graphs, Grab, they
Hmm,
use graphs. So
hmm,
if you're solving some technically complex problem which requires those kind of things, at that place you might want to use them. But in most of the cases, you just need it for the interviews. And
okay.
I think
Hmm,
till the time the interview process doesn't change, people
hmm,
need to be able to do that. I think it is because it's like why companies have kept it. It's kind of a thing that some kind of aptitude testing or problem solving basically, because
hmm,
in everyday day-to-day job you'll be asked to solve various different problems. So how many approaches you can find to it.
hmm,
And but a lot of startups have shifted away from it also. Then they go on some specific things. For example, if you know
hmm,
Go or if you know Java.
hmm.
So even that cases, some people argue that even that style of interviewing is bad because someone might know one language, might not know other
Right,
language, but that
right,
they are able
right.
to do it. So
Hmm.
I don't think there is a like easy solution to this, like how the interview should be.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Hmm.
yeah, but I think you might have to use some of the optimization skills when you're writing code.
Hmm.
So I think it's good to have, but for the interviews, it's required for now.
Yeah, I mean, you'll not be able to go through this. It's also very interesting to see here. A lot of content creators provide those resources. Like if you do
Mhm.
these 50 questions, you're set for clearing up the interviews. Every almost every other content creator does that. So, what do you think about that? Is it the right way to prepare for the interviews for companies like Google or Amazon, or is it any other way?
Yeah, I think a lot of students when they're preparing or any even like experienced professionals who are preparing for interviews, like if going through the list of questions or reading through a lot of things doesn't help. It
Hmm.
generally helps to do hands-on questions if
Hands
you're
on.
doing.
Hmm.
So even if you're following creators and they're giving a list of questions and solutions, it's fine. You should actually do those questions to be able to actually crack the interviews.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
just you can
Right.
refer it as a framework, but what you build is where it really sticks for the interview, right?
Yeah, and I think there are it's available freely on the internet. The amount of
Hmm.
topics that are there in DSA, they are also limited.
Hmm.
So unless you are giving some interviews which ask very like niche topics. For example, if you're giving high frequency trading companies interviews, they might ask some very topics which are not like easily available. But
Hmm.
most of the times you're able to solve the questions with a fixed set of algorithms and data structures. If you have done enough practice, you know where to
Hmm.
use what, and you are
Hmm.
able to even use multiple algorithms at one place.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a fair answer. I think from there are two questions I want to ask. The first one is if you were to build a startup tomorrow, right? And if you were to hire a software engineer for your company, how would you assess that software engineer? The second question I'll ask later once you answer it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like for most of the times, what I search for is like if the person is able to like if they have curiosity and they're able to like try to search the problems enough. So maybe a
Hmm.
small project if they are able to do by finding things
Hmm.
and just making it work, and if they do
Hmm.
something extra with it,
Hmm.
so that kind of skill, I think, is the most required one for the startups. Even if if someone is not able to do a particular task, but if they spent a lot of time and did some hard work, and they got
Hmm.
stuck at some place, and they are able to be honest with it, I think
Hmm.
that's a good person to hire.
Yeah, I mean, just the attitude, right? If
Yeah.
the work ethics and attitude are at the right place, I think now we live in an age where any other skill is like coachable at that
Right.
point, right? Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The second question I wanted to ask, given the environment that we are in, AI, DSA, lead code, I think AI agents, MCPs, as you talked about, what are the like top 3 to 5 skills that someone who's going to go for the job interviews must have? Like you can't enter an interview without knowing these things.
So for interviews, like data structures and algorithms still top because they are asked almost everywhere. The second thing one should know is to be able to do some high level design and some low level design of how the classes structure should be, that comes in low level design, and what kind of technologies are available.
Hmm. Hmm.
The third thing which comes is multi-threading is often asked in a lot of interviews. You should be able to write thread safe code, and
Okay.
you should know
Hmm.
things about processing,
Hmm.
processes, threads, and you should know about OS details. So
Okay.
I think OS and DBM. So if you know
Hmm.
these things, at least you're covered for the interviews, for
All
most of the
right.
interviews. But if you're going for like some AI startups, they might be looking for different skills.
Hmm.
So for that, you should, I think you should have some experience in building an MCP server because that
Hmm.
gives you an idea of how to set up these things. And I think a
Hmm.
lot of companies might be working on these. For example, a lot of service-based companies
Hmm.
might be looking to provide such solutions.
Okay. Okay.
And
So, but you don't
and
need to know about the AI stuff if you're just working generally. Let's say I'm applying for Amazon SD or a Google SD, then it's not necessary that I must be knowing the or have an experience in building MCPs, is
yeah,
it? Okay.
right.
Hmm.
It's not
We're
required.
not there yet. Okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
Hmm.
unless someone is preparing for a
Hmm.
specific AI role or a ML engineer role, then that requires some different things. You should know how
Yeah.
to be
Hmm.
able to create ETL pipelines. For example,
Hmm.
if you're applying for a data engineer role, then there are some extra set of interviews. You should
Hmm.
know how to
Hmm.
be able to handle the ETL pipelines, how to clean up the data. If you're in ML,
Absolutely.
if you're applying for ML engineer role, then I have seen people even asked to build a basic classifier in Python with code
Okay.
and not using any
Hmm.
libraries.
Hmm.
So different, these kind of different interviews have different patterns, but I
Hmm.
think DSA still is asked by in most of the interviews: system
Hmm.
design, low level design, high level design, these things, and threading, these things remain still at the top for now at least.
Okay. So you can't really enter into an interview without knowing this DSA, system design, HLD, LLDs, and threading.
Right.
These are the, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Understood. I think now I want to talk a little bit about people who are already, let's say, beginner or mid-level engineer and looking to, move up as a senior software engineer. So, what, from your opinion, is the difference between these 3 levels of engineer?
Okay. So, like there are differences in different things. For example,
Hmm.
if you ask like what kind of work these three levels do, like SD 1, 2, 3, in that
Hmm.
there is a difference. and then there comes a difference in like what's the responsibility and what actually helps
Hmm.
someone to get promoted to a better role. So
Right. So when you
yeah,
said there is difference between the kind of work they are doing, so
yeah.
can you double down on that a bit?
Yeah, so like if you join as a fresher in any company, most of the times what will happen is you will be given some task and you will be asked to just implement it. So
Hmm.
like you're given a class, you're given a basic problem that you have to put this
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
database, create some APIs. That's a
Hmm.
basic thing to do.
Hmm.
Once you cross 6 to 8 months, then you will be given
Hmm.
a small design to do. Like
Correct.
if you
Hmm.
have to solve this problem, then like give an idea about like what will you be doing, what kind of APIs you will be building. That kinds of
Understood.
start building your base towards
Hmm.
SG2.
Hmm.
So once you have done one or two such projects in which you did the design by yourself
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
implemented those,
Hmm.
then you move to SG2. So at this level, you are autonomous on actually like creating the designs and like
Implementing the full
coding.
feature by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now
Hmm.
in that also it's just the things which change is the scope. So for example, at SD1, if you are designing just one single API, at
Hmm.
SD2, you will be designing a one complete system in which there are multiple
Correct.
APIs.
Hmm.
And similarly, you'll go on to do this for some time. And like to move to SD3, then you will be given even higher project, even higher
Hmm.
scope project in which you
Hmm.
have to interact with multiple teams,
Hmm.
and it might be a year long project or 6 months
Hmm.
long project, something
Hmm.
like that, in which
Hmm.
there are multiple APIs, multiple different pipelines you have to create, or different technologies which you might have to use. There are different
Hmm.
cases which you need to consider, and in
Hmm.
these cases most of these projects are not done by one person. They might involve some other
Full
junior
team. Hmm.
engineers to work with you.
Hmm.
So if you're
Yeah.
able to execute that, that
Hmm.
helps you get to the third SG3.
Yeah.
Now at
Understood.
SG3, this is a like, I think a person stays SG3 for quite a long time.
Yes, then
In
it's
most of,
really a hard transition from
yeah,
L6 to L7 or ST3 to principal. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
because
think.
after that
Hmm.
it comes that you are like doing really very impactful stuff. Like actually, like if you go to L6, basically you are doing something which helps company, for example, increase revenue. It might not be just your team that,
Absolutely. That's where I was coming to. It's more like thinking from org perspective or business perspective, like
right?
even just replacing the full technology that might have been used for years and years, and you're like, this is what brings more functionalities or cost benefit. So just thinking from that standpoint, I think that's where senior SDs stand out. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe like if you go keep on like going up the ladder, it's
Hmm.
possible that the amount of code you write that goes on decreasing, because
Absolutely.
you are now and the
More
problems you
trained.
solve,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
and the problems you solve, they become more complex.
Correct.
So ambiguity of the problem start increasing. So for example, at
Absolutely.
SD1, you if you were given to solve a particular thing, it was
Hmm.
quite straightforward. You know
Hmm.
that this is the problem which you have to solve. At
Hmm.
SG3, you might be just given a business problem, maybe not even a tech problem, and then you have to
Absolutely.
think from the tech perspective, how will you be able to solve that completely?
Hmm. Okay, understood. I think that's a great perspective. So that's where I see a lot of difference, like just the ability to connect what you're doing with customers' problem just goes on
Right.
increasing as you move the ladder up. So
Yeah.
from that standpoint, I basically see where a lot of the times you're already doing the work, but you're just not able to connect that to the business outcomes
Right.
or customer problems. And for making that transition possible, first of all, I think that just going through the transition is harder than doing the actual job. So just
Right.
bringing on those artifacts is where a lot of people have to flex that muscle of connecting and
Hmm.
getting those artifacts ready.
I would like to say that it's not necessary that a person doesn't have skills. Most of the times, it's possible that people have skills, but they are not given the
Absolutely.
right opportunities. So in
Yeah.
those scenarios, the it's good to have good managers who are able to assign you the right projects, which give you
Hmm.
that ability to be able to perform in those kind of projects.
Scope is one of the first
Right.
conversations, discussion points that comes into picture when you start talking about your promotions. And I think at this point I also want to bring out, like, a lot of the times I've seen, like, you wait for your managers to bring up this discussion. I mean, has it been your experience as well?
Yeah, so I think like I've been fortunate enough to have good managers that they were
Hmm.
able to recognize that I was doing that kind of work.
Of course. I
So,
mean, yeah. Mhm.
I've been fortunate enough in those scenarios, but
Hmm.
I've seen people who have to reach out to the managers and then say that they want to be promoted, so give them the right projects.
Yeah.
But I think it's a normal conversation to have, and
Yeah. Hmm.
if you're able to say that you want to get promoted, then managers try to find those projects for you, and
Hmm.
if you're able to deliver on them, it mostly is fine.
Correct. And I think just this that groundwork of identifying the gap, just doing that gap analysis, this is where I stand. And this is maybe I need to showcase my work in just to grow into the another level. If you go
Right.
prepared for that conversation, it really helps.
I think maintaining a doc of what all you have
Yeah.
done. So every
Mhm.
company has some kind of guidelines at a
Yeah.
particular
Body
role.
of work document. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and if you know
Mm.
that what for the next level, what things you require, what are you lacking, you are able to easily get that.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that was really interesting. I wanted to keep this conversation short as well. But before wrapping up, are there any last thoughts that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I think I would like to say just on the topic of where people think uh, that the coding is going to be dead, the jobs are going to be dead.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's possible that every like a lot of jobs are automated. So so for anyone who is watching this, like everyone, a lot of people are scared these days what will happen to the jobs. So
Hmm.
I would say that it's good to just focus on things you can work on, like keep
Hmm.
improving the with the skills and keep
Hmm.
learning the new technologies.
Hmm.
And one should only focus on the things they have in control. And yeah, that's the only thought I'll leave people with.
That's a great thought. And I think one of we've already discussed it, like how peoples would set themselves apart from the competition in the age. So, do you think it would ever, the competency and experience is what really is the differentiating factor? Sorry, I'm asking one more question before we wrap up.
Yeah,
But
no issues.
the competency and the experience was, to me, those were the really differentiating factors in the world that we have worked in. But with AI coming in, a lot of this will like what an L6 developer is supposed to do, all that what is to his disposal is also available to SD1. So what are those differentiating factors that can, people use to stand out of the competition?
Yeah, so I think experience now has become even more relevant and important as compared to
Hmm.
previous times, because
Hmm.
in previous times, experience, people say that people gain the experience, that's fine. But now
Hmm.
with AI coming up, suppose if everyone is able to write code, then a
Right.
person who has more experience in scaling big applications knows what issues something they can run into, and they are
Hmm.
able to get the right things implemented with AI. So experience becomes more important. And even
Hmm.
if you go away from the development field and into other jobs, the one
Hmm.
thing which is more important is creativity, which I think
Hmm.
still the models lack, all the AI models. And
Hmm.
another thing which these models lack is the new things which are coming in. So
Hmm.
new technologies keep evolving. Like with AI,
Hmm.
there are other technologies which are also still evolving. So
Hmm.
right now these models are trained on the data which is existing. So any new
Correct.
things which are coming up, they might not be able to solve, like use those or write
Hmm.
code for it.
Hmm.
So it's always better to like stay connected with any new things which are coming up.
Yeah.
And the other thing, experience definitely helps. So at this time, software developers, I think, should focus more on actually building
Hmm.
scalable solutions,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah. We discussed that.
more on the system design end. Because like
Hmm.
even if the coding is replaced, I think the system design part is still,
Stays.
yeah,
Yeah.
still stays. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know till how much time it is also automated, but let's see.
It's do we have tools that build system designs as well?
Like they're able to like create the diagrams and all, but I'm not sure that they will be able to like handle the things like
Yeah, I've
basically a
seen tools
different.
that have been able to convert code files into diagrams, but
Yeah,
I've not seen like system designs being created by Gen AI stuff.
so like the creation of diagrams is like
Hmm.
they are able to do. I've done
Hmm.
that, which are able to create the diagrams with these things. Yeah. Uh,
Diagram there. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
or even with the prompt, for example, if you ask
Okay. Hmm.
to give a client server architecture or like
Hmm.
give some
Hmm.
Netflix architecture. They are able to create what is available in the blogs, but they don't know the nitty gritties which come into actually building such systems. Like what kind of issues like Netflix faced, what kind of issues Discord faced when they were
Hmm.
scaling a particular system. Those
Got
kind
it.
of things these still don't know until they are like,
Okay.
actually trained on the
Hmm.
document. And the main issue with that is
Hmm.
that there aren't enough documents also
Hmm.
that cover these detailed things of how a particular
That
problem
experience
was
can
solved.
only teach you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Well, wonderful. Thank you. This was an amazing conversation. I'm sure when this comes out, a lot of people will find it helpful. I sure have got a lot of things to think about. So, thank you for being here, Sukhad. This was amazing. And I'd love to have other opportunities in future for collaboration as well. But really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me on this podcast. Yeah, it was a really great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.